All right. Thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited about
Me
this.
too. Thank you.
All right. So, the intention for the interview today is just to give a perspective of what healing is and can be from a healer. So, first, let's just even start off like okay, well, even introduction here. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Jenny, right? Marci Barron. And can you just give us a little bit of your credentials?
Sure. I am an energy healer based in New York on Long Island. I call myself your homeward bound guide because I guide and hold space for people to clear the way home back to who they really are as a soul. And I define that as limitless potential, infinite joy, peace, ease, their true nature. As far as credentials, I have a lot of healing modality training. I am a Reiki practitioner level 3. I am an IET, integrated energy therapy is called, level 3. I did past life regression training with Dr. Brian Weiss, and trained with him. I have a body code. I did body code training, tuning forks, crystals, all kinds of different healing modalities. And yeah, just use a lot of them in my breathwork training, breathwork therapy, all different kinds to help clients depending on what their intentions are to heal.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So, what is healing to you?
Healing to me is removing the blocks from the different levels of the body or layers of the body, the physical, the mental, emotional, and spiritual, so that the body can heal itself.
Beautiful. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our bodies are beautifully designed to heal. We cut ourselves, the body's able to clot. We able to digest food. And what I help and support my clients in is to just remove whatever those energetic buildups are so that the body can heal itself.
Yes. Great. Me too. I love it. Totally fun. Great. Okay. So, how did you find energy healing?
Interesting story. So I was in a lot of emotional pain. My background is actually teaching. I have a bachelor's and a dual master's in education, and I was a third grade teacher for 7 years in a public school here on Long Island. And I had to resign when I was pregnant. And at 25 weeks, I went into severe preeclampsia help. And I gave birth to a 1 pound, 12-ounce micro preemie infant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he lived in the NICU for 8 weeks and then passed away. And after that whole event, it was basically a snowball effect of a lot of unresolved pain and grief, the beginning of the end of my marriage because of that, even though my ex-husband and I have 2 living children on this earth. A lot of pain. And what happened is I went to a medium, a woman who was able to, connect with the other side. And she's like, there's a boy here, your boy, bah, bah, bah. And I was like, Benjamin. And I burst into tears. And she's like, told me such incredible things that only he and I would know. And one of which was, just like, you hold so much guilt for his passing. Because I did. I was like, if I didn't get sick, that wouldn't have happened. He was this beautiful, healthy boy. He was just born too early. And in that moment, I felt my heart literally like go from broken to healed. And in that reading, she said, you need to go see this woman and do some real healing now. And it took me, I would say maybe like 5 months. I had gone to Israel and my crown chakra was blown open and I wasn't in my body at all. And I was like, all right, now is the time. And this woman, her name is Harriet McDonough. She is a licensed social worker, but works in energy modalities. And I went every Friday for 2 years straight.
Wow.
Yeah, like my desire to heal. And I felt it. I mean, I had been in talk therapy for many, many years, and I don't discount that value. And I could give you the laundry list of why I was, in so much pain. But it wasn't until energy healing tools and techniques I actually felt better.
Good.
Right? Because the universe doesn't speak in English. It speaks in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency.
Exactly.
So when I worked on that level, I started to feel the huge shifts. And Harriet is a master IET practitioner and was offering a training. And me being curious as a teacher, always wanting to learn, I was like, I want to try that. I would love. And then it just became, oh, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. And I wasn't teaching anymore. I was in a different full-time job, but I was taking trainings and seeing clients in my living room and really, just going, okay, this is my soul's purpose. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's how I found my healing journey. And that is how I, came into my, my work.
Tell me a little bit more. How would you describe that knowing that this is what was for you? What was happening to you?
Oh, it just was it was the thing that lit me up. It was that feeling of like comfort and ease and the butterflies in my stomach and, and that's how I feel every single day. It's like, wow, I get to do this.
Yeah, I know, it's so exciting.
It is. And I was just working with a client who is, and in that place of transitioning of being like, in the workforce to starting her own business. And I said, it's a leap of faith. I said, but, every single Sunday night she gets sick, the feeling of the dread.
Right, yeah. Monday morning.
Yeah. And so she, so I've been on both sides, and I will say, when you're aligned with what you want to do, it's like the puzzle pieces, right? It's like, oh, it all fits. It all works, and
everything's like clicking into place, right? The whole picture is coming together.
Yeah. And what I would say too is, before it clicked into place and all the pieces, every night before I would go to bed, I would just say, thank you for showing me the next step to take. And
your second career, third career?
No, well, I mean, I was a teacher. I was in a nonprofit organization, and I was using my educational degree to help them with their educational program. So, always in teacher mindset, so to speak, but in a different, not in the public schools. And now I'm like, I teach, the Divines curriculum, now I'm still teaching, but
right, just on a different level, different students, right?
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, because I have online programs and stuff and a whole online school around the chakras and group experiences and all, where I do like calls like this, Zoom calls for groups of women. And I just love it. I just absolutely, I guess there's that teacher in me, right?
Right. So would you say that being a teacher really kind of helps set you up as even far as being able to create?
Oh, yeah.
Curriculum for XYZ, like you name it.
100%. 100%. I go in with that mindset of, okay, here's the arc, here's the curriculum, here's where we're going to start and how I'm going to get them there. And it's not just knowledge. A big part of what I teach too is through guided meditation, through activations, energy healing tools, right? So it's more than just, all right, here's the information. Because again, that is just that's like very flat, one-dimensional, right? I want the whole hologram, for it to be lit up.
So as you go through the Homeward Bound program, is it pretty interactive?
Yeah, so I have a bunch of experiences. One is Clear Your Way Home, which is your signature program, is my signature program. And it's very interactive. We meet, I hosted one in April. I had, a group of women where we're all on the call. I'm giving information. We have private Facebook support and encouragement and homework, or I call it soul work, all different kinds of things like that. Now I'm leading one called Quantum Expansion, which is about really tapping into the quantum field and how to really have that ripple effect in all areas of your life of being in your highest vibrational frequency. I did just like a 2-hour workshop earlier in the week on the angels, which, are my passion. Yeah. So all different kinds of opportunities. I have, like I said, an online school where each individual chakra and its content and its energy tools and its meditations, all different kinds of ways that people can learn, heal, and, work with people and connect with them.
Great, great. So as far as like your own healing goes, do
Mm-hmm.
you work on yourself every day?
Great question. I work on myself every day through my sacred morning practice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very mindful. What?
What is that? What do you do in your?
Yeah, so I wake up, I give gratitude. I start with gratitude, and as I'm doing my gratitude, I'm actually stretching in my bed. I have tight hip flexors.
Okay.
So I'm stretching in my bed and like giving myself space to wake up into a mindset of gratitude. I always pick oracle cards.
Like first thing?
Well, no.
Okay.
I'll give you the exact order. So I do the stretching and the gratitude, and then I go and I make myself celery juice.
Okay.
Yeah, I juice every morning. Celery juice is very beneficial for me. Actually reversed a thyroid condition.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, like talk about quantum healing. And this, I think the celery juice had a big part of it. Anti-inflammatory foods, healing my throat chakra specifically. But I do the celery juice. I make a whole beautiful like bulletproof coffee with, adaptogens and medicinal and cacao and beautiful. And I make that a sacred practice. And then I always speak to my best friend and we have a beautiful call, like,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, every morning. And very high vibrational woman, Wendy, and we just hold space for each other. What's up for you? What's coming up for you? She's a coach and a healer. And then we pick the cards.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. So is that like the intention for the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it gives me intention for the day. And then, I'm getting back into my yoga practice and some kind of, physical movement. And then I'm ready to start my day. I think it's very important for women, especially mothers, especially, to fill their cups first so that they can give to everyone else. Because women are so much into giving, giving, giving. And we feel depleted or resentful when we're not able to do that for ourselves first. I'm a business owner. I have 2 teenage children. I'm a single mom. I mean, I'm in a beautiful relationship with a helpful, hands-on man, which is beautiful. But sometimes it's between the driving and the this and the that, it's like, all right. So that morning time for me is very sacred. I also do, like, I will body code myself, but I do work with other practitioners for my own healing because I'm on my own journey too.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
So what do you do with your kids? Like, daughter comes in, Mom, I don't feel good. What happens?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I work from my home, which is beautiful. My practice is probably now like 30% in person and 70% online with clients all over the world. So if she doesn't feel well, I'm like, okay, go back, get into bed, and I help take care of her in between work.
Nice.
We're now at the end of June here in New York, and they finish school, and she's like, I need a ride here, and my son has to go to work, and it's like, yeah, but I'm very diligent with my calendar. I have a lot of beautiful, even with my daughter, a lot of friends help with carpooling, and all kinds of stuff. Yesterday I was like, all right, have your friends come here, because it was easier for me.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Exactly. So is your daughter or your son, are they open? Are they interested in anything that you do?
Awesome question. When they were born, I hadn't awakened yet, and I was in a lot of emotional pain. But I would say by the time, they were, I don't know, maybe my daughter was 5 or 6 and my son was 9, and little by little, children are so open. So, as you speak to them, from a place of consciousness, and they respond. And my children are really, really, really intuitive.
Oh, they are. Good.
Oh, yeah. My son is an empath. I would describe him as an empath. He feels things on such a deep level. And I'm helping him distinguish what's his, what's not his.
So important.
Yeah. And my son is psychic. We were sitting at the diner, and he's like, Mom, you wouldn't eat tuna fish. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't eat tuna fish. He's like, yeah, but if they brought it, would you eat it? I'm like, come on, I don't like that. Yeah. And sure enough, the waitress comes out and she looks at him and she goes, burger. And she looks at me and she says, tuna melt. And we both went, and he does that a lot. Out of nowhere, we were driving and all of a sudden he goes, chicken. And then 3 minutes later, there was a chicken in front of the car, which again, on Long Island, that's not normal.
Right. Chickens running around everywhere.
Yeah. And when he feels unsettled, he's like healing hands. He calls my hands healing hands, healing hands. So he likes my hands on him. My daughter also very, very attuned. She'll say things like, my angel's, when she was younger, my angel's here. And I'm like, oh, and I'll just nothing, oh, and what does your angel look like? And she would describe her. This was a really interesting conversation. One night, she was younger. And again, I'm so happy in my current state of consciousness. She's like, I want to go home. And I'm like, you are home. She wasn't talking about her father's house. I was like, you are home. And she's like, no, I want to go home. She was longing, her soul was longing for that part of her true essence. And I go, okay, where is home? And she goes, Venus, like that, Venus. Yeah, okay, yes, you are love. My daughter is all love. And I said, okay, honey. I said, can I hold you while we think about Venus and you think about home? And she said, yes. And, it was a beautiful moment of, recognizing and holding space for her feelings and not making her,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awkward or that you're wrong or.
Yeah.
Was that kind of the beginning of your program?
What do you mean?
Is that what it was at the Find Your Way Home program? Did that kind of spark that?
Oh, interesting. No.
Okay.
It wasn't. No, I call it my signature program because I'm your homeward bound guide.
Okay.
And so that was just another example of home. But we all have home, I guess, where we long for, where we feel comfortable. But I really feel home is heart, in your heart, that sense of feeling completely comfortable within, in this physical skin, which can get really uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you feel that you are healed? Are you a healthy person?
I would say that I'm a healthy person. I would say that, I am constantly raising my vibrational frequency and vibrating, striving to vibrate at a higher place but I would consider myself healed in the sense that, listen, we all are, it's always layers. We're
Right.
always coming back. There's always going to be doubt or fear or, whatever as I
Mhm. Right.
yeah. But the thing is, what I've realized is I'm able to shift easily. That's the difference. So I remember I used to cry a lot. Like I used to have so much sadness and I would cry and my monthly cycle would really trigger that for me. And now, of course I can get triggered. I have stuff happen, but I know how to get myself out of it faster. I'm able to, go, okay, this is what's going on. This is the story I'm telling myself. I allow the emotions to move through and I know how to move them out.
Right.
And I know how to realign in a place that's healthier.
Yeah. Yeah. So great. So such a
Yeah.
powerful tool and a sense of accomplishment and knowing and just really being able to help yourself is tremendous.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And that's what's, I think, also has helped me inspire my community, inspire my clients and the people that I work with and that, resonate with my work. It's like I went first.
Mhm.
I could, like I said, I've had a lot happen to me very early. I was 31 years old. My first child, lost that child. Like, and listen, everyone has their stuff.
Mhm.
But it's proof that if you are consistent and mindful and set intention and seek help, you can heal your life, like Louise Hay says.
Right. So
Yeah.
how do you measure health?
Oh, I measure health in my feeling good.
Okay.
My emotions, my and again, for me, this has been mine and this is for me personally, right? So if somebody has physical, pain and discomfort in their body that's constant, it might be very different than my definition, right? But for me, measuring health personally is, thank God I'm healthy. My physical body's healthy. I did kind of have something come up with my thyroid, but I totally reversed that without medication. And I can talk about that. But for me, it's always been my emotions that have been the, let's say, the vehicle in which I was out of alignment. So knowing that it's safe for me to express my emotions in healthy ways. I'm a big fan and I use it in my practice of EFT, emotional freedom technique, or tapping. Anything and everything to, shift my vibration if I'm in a space of whatever, fear, doubt. I just went through, I guess, before the solstice, 2 weeks of I was like, whoa, I haven't felt this way in a while. But what it was like the slingshot bringing me back to move me forward. And I'm like, all right, I'm not staying here. I know what this is about. I'm giving myself permission. And ultimately, I felt like the catapult forward. So for me, it's a state of peace, a state of ease, a state of calm, a sovereignty, like in my being. And again, my physical body reflects that, taking good care of my body, taking
Mhm.
care of my energetic hygiene,
Yeah.
thinking kind thoughts, and yeah.
How do you measure clients' health and well-being?
So,
Geez.
well, I measure it with how they're feeling.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like your emotions and your feelings are messengers.
Yeah.
right? They're here for our to give us information. So, again, like I look at raising your vibration and healing as like climbing Mount Everest. Okay. Right. And you can't fly, let's say, from New York and go to the summit of Everest in one day. You would explode. Your body couldn't handle it. It's the same thing as raising your vibrational frequency. So you fly from New York into Nepal and you adjust. And then you're like, all right, we're going to start. And we get to base camp 1. And then you might, have to rest there a bit, or it might take a few steps back to adjust to that altitude. So for my clients, it's like, how are you doing today? And over time, if they are consistently working in the energy healing modalities, if they are, I give a lot of tools and recommendations in their energetic hygiene and self-care. Someone just had a session yesterday, and I checked in with her. How are you feeling? She's feeling irritable, which is very normal after healing, right? All this stuff got stirred up in her. And I said, okay, you take an Epsom salt bath. Being in the salt water will help calm the irritability. It'll, clear your energy. So, then it's her choice. It's her free will. Is she going to take the bath or isn't she? Right. So, I have a lot of tools, and techniques to help support that when you're not in the session or in the group. In the group it's more ongoing because I'm able to really hold space for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I just made an offering, which I'm just so excited about, because typically it was sessions like how you see, your patients or clients or whatever, and it's like I created this intensive healing container where it's like, okay, it's not just individual sessions, like let's say it's a month, but we would, meet 4 days on video or whatever. But in between, if something's coming up for you, I could do a healing, on you. I could do Reiki. I could do a body code. Right. I could make a crystal grid and, work in your energy field, right? So that you're really collapsing time and space here.
Right.
So
all that supportive care in between.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, that really then, changes the trajectory in a shorter amount of time. So, yeah. So,
it's nice to have that reassurance and knowing like, okay, I can like in between even just check in, like, is this normal? Like, can you help me? Is there anything else we can do?
Right.
In the meantime, right? Yeah. Really taking action for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Just recognizing like, oh, something is a little off, or I'm feeling this, or I'm feeling that. And just being able to identify what you're experiencing can be so useful.
Absolutely. And then, right. So then they have, access to me over Messenger, like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. And I'm like, okay, here's what I think. I'm going to do this on my end. Here's what I think you should do on your end. And then it gets cleaned up, in the moment.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So powerful. So
it is, because it was something I created because I thought to myself, I remember like there was sometimes like I would always be like, all right, Friday, like wait for my Friday appointment. But something would come up on Tuesday.
Right. Yeah. I need you now. Right. I can't wait till Friday. Who knows what's going to manifest in between.
Exactly. So, so I'm holding space for people in that way too. And I would say people's feelings, their emotions, are the greatest indicative of healing.
Cool. Yeah, no, I agree. And just being able to teach people, like you said with your son, like, is this your feelings or is this somebody else's? Like, and even recognizing that, are you an empath?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Totally. People, I know a woman who her whole life she was sick, and it was not her sickness. She was taking on other people's stuff. And until she became an empowered empath, did that really start to shift for her. I tell people all the time, life happens. Life is always happening. It's a tornado, right? But where are you vibrating? Are you vibrating here so you're stuck in the whirlpool? Or are you vibrating up here so that the whirlpool is, you're able to be like, all right, I see what's going on. I'm an observer of it. And I'm not getting, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going into that whirlpool.
Right.
So that's ultimately the goal.
A good example too of how, like, are you staying up in here? Are you following that downward spiral in the tornado, right? To just be tossed around, wherever, right? Like you have no control.
Yeah. And if you're familiar, with the Esther Hicks, right, how you have to reach for the next emotion, right? So you can't expect a depressed person to go from depressed to like, oh, hey, I'm going to be so happy and joy. But for them, it's anger, right? So it's like the depression is completely shut down. If they could get angry and start expressing anger, that's the next place for them to climb out of that whirlpool, so to speak. So, yeah.
To evolve instead of revolve, right?
Ooh, I love that. Yes.
Right.
Trademark that.
I think I got that one from Dr. John D. Martini. Are you familiar?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I love that. Brilliant. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Right. Is there anything that you would like to tell anyone who's looking to heal outside of traditional Western medical care?
Yeah. The first thing I think that every human being should do is watch Heal, the documentary.
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
Right?
So
good. It's on Netflix. And really, it can shift everyone's perspective on what's possible.
Right.
And the way that they present it is so brilliant. It's just beautifully done. It's so clear and cohesive. They account for, pure, like research-based, quantum physicists, organic chemists, intuitive, the leading thought people in mind, body, energy medicine, all of it. And it's that's what I would recommend. If everybody could watch Heal, the documentary, and they realize how much power they have over their health, and that the body is designed to heal and take care of itself, if you could just get the blocks out of the way. I was talking about my thyroid. For me, speaking my truth has always been difficult. It wasn't encouraged, growing up, so I always had to, choke down my words, my opinions. I always had to stop the tears of how I felt, particularly with my dad. And it was just, his way. He loved me. It wasn't anything that he consciously wanted to do, but that was my experience as a child. Right. So there's no doubt that over time, I've spoken up, but it was okay, well, what caused it to get, and I call it out of threshold, right? It's you reach a point, and then you cross over the line. Mm-hmm. I went to my internist, and she was like, wow, what's going on here? And so she wanted to put me right on Synthroid, and I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that. And I consulted, my holistic, community and naturopath, and, it was all right, take all the inflammatory foods out of your diet. And, even though I wasn't eating a lot of them, I had inflammation. Mm-hmm. And with that, really doing mindful, I jade roller on my thyroid every day with affirmations. And I cough sometimes because it's still this is my space, speaking my truth. Or just putting my hands over it and giving my throat Reiki, or using my tuning forks and, putting it on, or doing a body coat on my throat. And sure enough, and some supplements and, my celery juice and all of that. And sure enough, completely reversed.
How long did it take?
I had that blood work initially done in October, and then in November, got worse. So November, and then I had my blood work in the beginning of June. So so December, January, February, March, April, May, within 6 months. But I will say, I think it happened even sooner.
Right. That's just when you got the confirmation.
Yeah, that was when I was like, okay, I feel a shift in my body and I'm ready to go see the endocrinologist. And she's like, well, there's no proof of that. And she's like, I'm going to do this test. You're probably in Hashimoto's, which is the advanced form. Nope.
Healthy.
And it's incredible. It's incredible. And Heal, the documentary, really shows how you can have this quantum healing. Like, there are people who have the radical remission. And there's a scientist in the movie who talks about it and what you can do. And I think like out of 7 or 8 of them, I remember she said there are only 2 that is like your diet and your supplements and water. The rest is meditation and, all these different mind-body healing modalities.
Right. After my husband and I watched it, and then like that night, he was like, I think I really want to start meditating. And I was like,
Yeah.
You do? Like, really? Like, that's great. And he just kind of really opened him up even more to all the different modalities and how powerful his own thoughts are.
Yes.
Unconsciously. Even.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just sitting here and sometimes I'm like, I feel you. Like, what's up? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Let's talk about, or do something, like talk to somebody, let's work through it. Don't have to, mess up your chakras and feel like you can't say anything, or that it's not safe to say something, or that you're going to be judged for saying something, and, just do something different to make yourself better.
Yeah.
I feel like it's becoming more mainstream. Right. It's
100%.
more acceptable, and people are getting on the bandwagon and really noticing, like, no, if I do take like, an hour for myself in the morning, and I get my celery, I get my meditation, I get to talk to my best friend, I have a powerful conversation that's, really uplifting me, and that carries out through the entire day. Right.
Yeah.
All spilling over into all these other people who are then able to take that and spread that to their families and their coworkers, and just the ripple effect just keeps going, which is so amazing. It's like so healing for the planet itself.
100%.
Right? Not just us and the people that we're working with, but everyone else.
Yes.
Also.
I tell people, when you heal everybody around you, and you don't need to say a single word. Right. It's how you hold yourself. It's how they perceive your energy. It's how they feel. Hey, she's light. She's calm. She's grounded. Look at how she handled that. You know what I mean? And you become more responsive and less reactive.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's always a good measure too, on even when talking with clients, like, okay, this event happened. Well, how did you respond?
Absolutely.
And like, how did you respond a year ago?
Mm-hmm.
And being able to know, like, oh, well, I didn't get so upset, or I wasn't so mad at this person, or I didn't break down crying, or I was able to just take it and let it roll off my back, and knowing that that's their problem, that wasn't my problem, and I don't have to take this on. And
yeah, it's a cool, there's a really good, understanding that I teach in my groups. It's like, there's a difference between knowing. It's like, okay, I've heard that before. I know that, like, and then it's integrating, right? Like, I'm taking it in here and there, I'm doing it. And then there's full embodiment. It's right. It's like, I embody this. I walk it. I talk it. I live it. I breathe it. And ultimately, each level is wonderful. And you're saying, okay, like you said, it's like, oh, I'm able to do this now. And it's a beautiful, beautiful proof, beautiful validation of the rise.
yeah, yes. And just how powerful, like, our human psyche can be.
Yeah.
the unconscious and being able to work on that and tap into it and figure out those emotional blocks and the limiting decisions and all the beliefs that you may not even recognize when you even started those beliefs.
I know. Most people don't realize it, that it's their inner child that is the one running the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part of them that, their little girl or their little boy is not, it sees the world through a distorted lens, and a lens that ultimately needs to be recognized and healed.
Right. Even with our session together, and for, just kind of giving some more attention to her, and even that permission to work on her, and, like give her things, and allowing myself to even acknowledge her. And that's not, like I went to the store and I saw this little like stuffed animal, and I like really want it, like, but as an 37-year-old woman, like I don't need a stuffed animal. But I was like, I really want it, so I bought it.
Good.
Yeah. And so I like have it in my little healing space now. And so I can look at it and I can feel good that I'm acknowledging her and that she wants something, and I can provide that for her. Right. And
I know. So beautiful. It is. And what a beautiful embodiment of that. Like really carrying it into your physical world. It's like we don't realize that, she's talking to us in all of our triggers. And when you're able to be there for her in a way that, again, our parents couldn't be, and not because they didn't want to, but just, their limiting capacities, it's life-changing. I had a client recently. Her dad always gave her $1. And I guess there was a time where he then stopped, or like he held, some whole thing that and I said, we did, an inner child work and healing. And I said, you know what? I said, go out and get yourself like the most fun, like backpack or wallet or, bag or whatever. I'm like, and give yourself dollars, $10, $100 a week, like give it to yourself, and it was like, you can completely, reparent yourself in the way that you needed to. And she sent me a picture of the backpack. She went into Claire's. Nice. She sends me all the money in there. She's like, this is the best thing ever. I could give it to myself. And I'm like, I know. So, yeah.
So empowering. So
empowering.
Well, that's so great. Well, I think, is there anything else that you would like to say, or do you think it's about time we can just wrap it up here?
Yeah, I would just like to say that I am so grateful that you asked me to have this conversation and to connect with you. Yeah. And I am just so grateful for it. And that, if anyone's watching in your audience, if they want to find my website, it's marcibaronclears.com, MarciBaron, Clears, CLEARS.com. I have a really awesome blog that gives a lot of energy healing tips. And I wrote an ebook for the chakras if they want to opt into my newsletter, and just really delighted that you invited me on. So thank you.
Yeah, you just seem to be a big wealth of resources, and just kind of having that, a good conversation, get some info out there, tell some good stories. Stories can be so powerful. And all of that. So I really appreciate you even accepting this for me. This is my first time to even do this.
Oh.
So yeah, like I was doing something different, like stepping out of my own comfort zone and being able to talk to somebody else and having a good, healthy, flowing conversation is very powerful and enlightening for me too. And I think this is something that I would like to do even more.
Wow. I'm going to sneeze. Something clear for you in that.
Thank
Right?
you.
For
Thank you.
me, sneezing is a big clearing. So beautiful. Thank you. I'm delighted I was the first one, and I
Yeah.
am just so excited to see how this evolves for you, because again, you're shining your light. You're connecting in a way of, conscious health, all different modalities, and getting that out into the world. So thank you for shining your light and allowing me to be a part of this today.
Yes. Thank you. So
Thank you. My pleasure.